We are with Josh Talge here at Titleist Performance Institute, and we have really the bread and butter of the 718 line, the AP series. We have AP1, AP2, and a newcomer we'll touch on later, AP3. Let's start off with AP1.
All right. Well, thanks, Dean, for being here. Let's talk about the new 718 AP1. So AP, as you might remember, stands for Advanced Performance. And when we talk about AP1, this is really our game improvement iron. And in the past, we probably didn't even say that term. We would talk about the performance angle of it, but we're so proud of what we've created here. We believe that this is an iron that's going to give you maximum distance, maximum forgiveness, and do it in a real Titleist look and feel. It's a progressive iron set. So not only are the blade lengths going to get a little bit longer as you get into the long irons, the sole is a little bit wider. In fact, in the 4 and 5 iron, we've gone with a hollow body construction. And we did that because we know there's a lot of golfers out there who kind of hit their 6 iron, 5 iron, 4 iron, all fairly similar. We need to stretch that set out because our goal is to be able to give you playable distance throughout your bag. And as you get into the 6 iron, 7 and below, you'll find the classic cavity back. But this is a fantastic iron. We're really excited about it. I mentioned not only will it give you max distance, max forgiveness, but this idea of Titleist look and feel. It's really important for us that an iron really has the right shaping, and most importantly, that when you're hitting it, it's giving you that feedback, that solid feel that still feels fast coming off the face, but gives you a sound that you really love when you know you've hit it a great shot.
And you talk about the look and feel. I mean, we'll probably slash some pictures up throughout this video, but if you look at the back of the AP1 with the AP2 and AP3, you can really get the sense that they are of one big family.
Absolutely. There's a lot of things here that blend together. We wanted to make sure from a design standpoint that everything felt like a high-end men's watch. We wanted it to be that kind of elegant, classic look, but at the same time represent performance going forward. And I think as you look at the family of irons that we have, that look comes across.
Okay, let's move over to AP2. It is uber popular on the PGA Tour. It's going to be one that when it's on the shelf, players are obviously going to go right towards that.
We love the AP2. This is, for us, we call this the gold standard of modern tour irons. And the reason we say that is it's actually played by more touring professionals than any other iron in the world. It's also a tour iron that we believe is within reach. Okay. So if you're the player who likes that shaping of a tour iron where you've got the thin top line, relatively narrow sole, but we're able to really, this is a technological marvel in performance. We're able to cram a ton of forgiveness in here by putting tungsten weight in the toe and the heel, giving it an incredibly fast but still forged face. And so this is what I would refer to as this is a tour iron within reach.
Okay.
And I think that's what's really special about this is not only do the best players in the world play it, but this is something that you and I or a lot of members who are watching these videos can go out there and tee up as well. And we've sold in the last decade more AP2s than any other iron. It's got a great fan base. They're a vocal fan base. And one of the things they asked for was, hey, don't change my AP2 too drastically. But with each generation, we've made it a little bit more forgiving. We've been able to give you a little bit more distance, a little bit more launch. And so you'll find that with this. In fact, this iron is more forgiving than a 714 AP1, so than a true game improvement iron. But you mentioned the looks. That's another key to this. Really want to make sure it's very, very clean on here. While it's loaded up with tungsten, we're not going to mess up the beautifulness of this. We want this to look as good at a dress as it does in your bag.
Construction-wise, what makes the AP2, I think you said the 714 AP1, what makes that iron, because it's definitely more compact than that AP1 was, as forgiving or even more forgiving than that AP1 of 714?
It's a combination of materials that we use. So taking the opportunity to have tungsten, they'll give this a real stable feel. We want to make sure that the weighting is up by the toe and the heel so that you're getting that consistent distance. Because when you talk to a tour player and they're thinking about, what am I going to get out of this iron? They want to hit their exact number every single time. That's really key to us. Carry distance, again, is the key that we're looking for from a benefit standpoint of, are you hitting your number every single time? Okay. And that's what this iron is able to produce.
And we see combo sets, really taking shape. Now, going from AP1 to AP2 with the loft differences, how difficult would it be to really combo those? I mean, obviously we're going to start talking about AP3 where that fits into the equation, but going AP1 long irons to AP2 scoring irons with the loft changes in there.
Yeah, combo set is a great question. We're seeing what we call it mixed sets, and we're seeing that incredibly gain popularity on the PGA Tour. Over 2/3 of our players are playing with mixed sets. In many cases, they will take out long irons of their set and put in a TMB, which we'll talk about in a minute. Or more recently, AP3 has become a model that many guys have turned to. So we're seeing players like Justin Thomas, Adam Scott, Bill Haas, Ian Poulter, Jimmy Walker have all put AP3 as a long iron replacement in their bag. And then as we start to blend into whether they go from an AP3 down into an AP2 or perhaps into a CB or an MB, with our tour guys, what they're looking for is, again, these playable distance gaps. Okay. They want to make sure the gapping is strong. So in some cases, they may weaken something by a degree or strengthen something by a degree to really make sure we're getting the utmost out of that. It's the same type of fitting that you'll get from us when you go to, whether it's a Titleist Thursday event or visit any of our fitting centers. We want to make sure that we're building a perfect set of clubs for you, even if that means you've got different products at different lengths.
Okay, so we mentioned it. Let's talk about it. This is the new iron in the AP family. This is the AP3. First, let's talk about what makes it different than the other two, and then we'll go into really who it targets.
Yeah. So we're very excited about AP3. This is an iron that we feel was missing from our lineup, and we wanted to add it. The first thing I want to talk about is the name.
Okay.
Right. So AP3, we didn't name it AP 1.5 on purpose because it doesn't really sit perfectly between these two irons.
Okay.
What it does is it combines the best of both of the AP1 and AP2. So I know that golfers don't like to do math, but what we think about is AP3 is the distance and forgiveness of AP1 plus kind of the look and feel of AP2. So 1 + 2 = 3.
Even I could do that one.
We can all do this one. Feel confident. But as you look at from a size perspective, what you'll see is AP3 very close to AP2. But then from a true distance and forgiveness, it's much closer to AP1. So thus the math. I joke with our team because I like to eat, as your listeners know. I joke that it's chocolate and peanut butter. You get the best of both worlds. You get all the distance and forgiveness of a game improvement iron, but it comes in the player's look and feel package that you really want.
Okay, so the player who doesn't want to go for the size of AP1 and AP2 might become, maybe they don't have the swing speed for it or might be a little shorter than what they want, AP3 is where they should probably look.
That was actually, Dean, you nailed it. That's how we think about this. So for AP1, again, this is the player who really wants max distance and max forgiveness. It is a little larger footprint than a player's iron, than a tour iron. But there's a lot of golfers out there who actually really will look down on this and see confidence building. They'll see the opportunity that will make them feel like I can play my best golf with that. For players who grew up with much thinner top lines or narrower soles, but realize I need that distance. I've gotten a little bit older, my swing speed isn't as strong, or hey, I just want distance. Right. I want to be able to hit a 6 iron when my buddies are hitting a 5 iron. That's where AP3 comes into play. And it really is, like I mentioned, this idea of chocolate and peanut butter, combine the best of both worlds. As you get into AP2, this is a true tour authentic iron. But because we have been able to load this thing up with performance, it really is within reach of a lot of golfers. I feel confident putting this in the hands of any single digit or even low double digit handicap, and they're going to have a great time. But you've got to bring your own speed with this from a pure distance perspective.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about distance, one of the things that's helpful, I think, for viewers to realize is for us, for distance irons like the AP1 and AP3, where we get that distance is from a couple of key variables. Mm-hmm. The first is incredibly thin, really fast, unsupported faces. Think of giving the opportunity the ball hits that face and can really spring.
Right.
So you make it as thin as you can, but it's got to be really strong. Now, the key there is to keep it from not having a hot spot. Because as I described that action, it probably sounded like you're describing a driver. And with a driver, you actually want a hot spot because it's great if you hit it 15 yards further.
Absolutely. I'll take that every time with a driver.
But for us, with irons, these are scoring clubs, right? We don't want our golfer to suddenly hit one 15 yards further than they're used to. We want them to get that consistent, playable distance. So that's something that really comes into the engineering of our club. To help with that engineering, we move the CG low. To do that, we use an element called tungsten. We've joked about it before that it seems like we used more tungsten than anybody else. It's something that we just feel really confident in, that we can help us lower the CG, but at the same time giving us very high MOI, giving us the forgiveness, giving us the ability to really have fast speeds across the face. So one, we eliminate that hot spot, and two, we give you that consistent playable distance. We want you to be able to launch this ball high in the air and still give you that angle of descent, because for us, carry distance is king. You want to hit your iron a specific number. It's a scoring club. This isn't a driver where you're just trying to get max distance.
So when you talk about lowering the CG and moving it back a little bit more in the AP3, I mentioned lofts with AP1 and AP2. Are the lofts much more in line with AP2 in this one, even though the CG's back a little more, so maybe guys will get a little higher ball flight?
So from a loft perspective, AP2 is very traditional. A 7-iron loft is going to be 34 degrees.
Okay.
As you get into AP3, because we were able to move the CG down, keep MOI incredibly high, and get a very high launch with this fast face, we actually strengthen the lofts.
Okay.
So the loft is strengthened to 31 degrees. But again, we believe that it's still providing playable distance.
Right.
It's giving us the trajectory we need to make sure that you're hitting and holding greens more often. And then as you get into AP1, again, because of the construction elements we have there, and even taking MOI, AP1 is the most forgiving iron we've ever made. We can actually go even stronger there and move up to a 30-degree 7-iron. But still, and what I'm excited for your golfers to see is when they try this product, they're going to see the ball flight. They're going to get the feel, and they're going to realize that even though this is a little bit stronger lofted than maybe some irons they've played in the distant past, the performance is there.
And what about release date and price range? Because 3 different irons, prices are going to be a little bit different.
Yep, we're going to have these in golf shops at the end of September. September 29th is the day we've circled on our calendars.
Okay.
Leading into that, we'll certainly have different Titleist events. We want to make sure that people have an opportunity to go in and be fit. As you guys know, that is our key focus is always on fitting. We want to make you a custom set of irons. We know that will get you your best performance. Gives you your opportunity, as we talked earlier, to also have the chance to mix and match between sets. Mm-hmm. From a pricing standpoint, I'm just going to talk about steel. If you go, 8-piece set, so 4-iron through gap wedge in AP1, it's map pricing is $9.99. AP2 and AP3 are $12.99.
Okay.
CB and MB also slot into that same area.
And you made me think of one more with fitting. Titleist Thursday is
Yeah.
obviously a great promotion. When will these get into the fitting carts for Titleist Thursday's events? You said end of September they're going to hit the shelves. Are they going to be in those fitting carts a little bit beforehand?
They will be. So starting in September, probably about mid-September, we'll have it in all of our fitting carts, and we're going to start having Titleist events in the month of September. We always want to get our loyal Titleist fans the opportunity to try our products first and ultimately order them and have them in their possession, if we can, even before it gets to retail.
Okay, Josh, thank you. That is the AP1, AP2, and new AP3 from the 718 lineup of Titleist.